Oh, no, wait, I need a lead in.
Too much of a good thing?
That'd work. So welcome to Council of Geeks. My name is Nathaniel Wayne. I'm joined tonight by Ryan Daly.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about kind of the little flood of announcements that came from Fox in regards to the XMen franchise. Because things, aside from Deadpool 2, which, you know, had its casting announcement recently, there wasn't a lot of word on where Fox was going.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like X-Men Apocalypse was not met with a lot of critical love, and I don't think it blew the doors off the place in terms of box office or ratings.
It didn't. And it's not even like Batman v Superman. Like, I know people who will go to bat for Batman v Superman. I don't know anyone who goes to bat for Apocalypse.
No, it was just fairly underwhelming.
So what they did was they nailed down a date for Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
They gave a date for New Mutants.
Yep.
And one for officially now called X-Men Dark Phoenix. I think the rumored working title was X-Men Supernova,
which everybody just assumed was a code for X-Men Dark Phoenix.
And I think Fox just figured, well, they cracked the code, might as well call it what it is. Right. So let's take each of these kind of in turn. So Deadpool 2. Well, first of all, because I actually never got around to doing a video talking about the casting of Josh Brolin as Cable. I'll ask your thoughts on that first.
My first thought was, okay. I don't have a problem with the casting of him. I think he'll be fine. It might not have wowed me as much as if they had done something really crazy like Pierce Brosnan, who was in the rumor mill for a while.
That was cool.
They were rumored Brad Pitt at one point. I thought that was long shot wishful thinking. I'm sure he will be fine.
I think he can do what the part requires, which is just to be the uber masculine straight man to Deadpool's slightly effeminate, wacky antics. I think for me the thing is that every other name that was rumored I found more interesting than Josh Brolin.
If he can do a grizzled warhorse type of character, that's fine, and I think he can do that. So,
you know what I do want to look? I gotta remember her name, because they actually announced a while ago the casting on Domino. Mm-hmm. Woman by the name of Zazie Beetz, or Zazie Beetz. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Her big claim to fame right now is she's on the TV show Atlanta. So she is black. She is African American. Okay. And so I guess the question with that becomes is, are they going to in some way allow that to show through, or are they going to bury her under the stark black and white makeup that Domino, with Domino as a character, she's not in makeup, that's just what she looks like, but are they going to bury her in makeup to recreate that look? Or are they going to let her racial heritage show through more, or does it matter?
I'm all for allowing more ethnicity to shine through, but in terms of covering someone's natural feature with makeup that looks so that it doesn't look like she's in whiteface or something. But like I would look at somebody like Zoe Saldana in Guardians of the Galaxy, who's clearly her skin looks green. It gives her that somewhat alien look, but I still think there's enough of her natural ethnicity to shine through that I look at that, I was like, it's not a Caucasian woman playing that role. I think if they do something along that approach where they make her look clearly like bleached white, like paper white skin, so you know it's not natural, but you can still tell the inherent ethnicity behind it. If they can somehow strike that middle ground, I'm cool with that.
I'm kind of two minds of the thing, because I think I have no doubt, what I'm about to say is no judgment on the creative team involved in Deadpool. However, I have no doubt that at the very least at the executive level, there are guys thinking, please let us bury her under that makeup because she's an unknown and fewer people will realize she's black and we won't get the ridiculous, stupid hate mail trolls. But at the same time,
will come regardless.
I almost kind of want them to poke the bear and let her natural ethnicity, like find a way to redesign the makeup so that she still appears black, just to piss those idiots off. It's like, how dare you? How dare you change the race of the character whose race is in no way indicative by the color of her skin in the comic book in the first place?
The thing about the character in the comic books is she's white with a black dot around her eye. But a Domino, could be the reverse of that.
That's very true.
It would be black with a white dot.
Patch. That would work. So New Mutants in April, which first of all is a little bit odd that it's going to be coming out ahead of Deadpool, considering that it has a director but no cast so far. But the reason I brought up the Deadpool
no announced cast. There were some rumors.
Well, they have characters listed, which means they probably have a script, but they don't have a confirmed cast. But the director right now is known for romantic stuff.
He did. Josh Boone is the director and writer. He did The Fault in Our Stars is the one thing that I've seen.
He did one thing before that, the name of which escapes me, but it was another romantic thing.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of an odd.
He has also, I know he has got a script or a treatment out there for Stephen King's The Stand, a new adaptation of that. Whether or not it'll ever happen, I don't know. But like they announced that.
So
his project
he's got ambitions in
beyond.
Okay.
Like the sort of teen rom-com, young adult type of thing. I think he is trying to expand. That said, with a movie like X-Men: The New Mutants, a lot of his cast members will be taken from that same kind of stock as, The Fault in Our Stars. I mean, it's by its nature, it's a younger cast. Now, the one thing I've heard, this is not confirmed, but one of the rumors going around was that James McAvoy would return in that as Professor X.
I saw that because I was looking up, if I can just find the darn thing I found. Because I saw a list of characters that they're trying to lock down to appear in this thing. And I saw Professor X listed, I'm like, really?
Well, I mean, that's based on some of the source material that he was kind of there, like chaperoning these while his X-Men were taking care of their own business.
Yeah, so some of the characters that have been mentioned, they include Magic.
Illyana Rasputin, who is Colossus's younger sister.
Yep. Wolfsbane.
Which, the name that I have heard associated with this one is Maisie Williams, also known as Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. No confirmed. That I think it was just like in one of those rumor mills that she might have been kind of, her name was bandied around with that. Right. That would be cool if she turns into a werewolf.
I'd be down for that.
She turns into her direwolf.
Mirage, who I don't know.
Okay.
Cannonball,
who is a character that I loved and I would love to see him in the movies.
Sunspot,
who I think was actually in Days of Future Past as one of the cannon fodder guys who gets killed early on.
Warlock, who I don't know. Lockheed,
little pet dragon.
Kitty
Pryde.
And apparently, it's been rumored that the main antagonist, and I had to look this up to be sure this wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
But the main antagonist, the rumor right now is Demon Bear.
I can't imagine that being the big bad necessarily, but I've seen actually an animatic that actually goes with this, like the Josh Boone kind of like storyboarded them fighting this demon bear, which is from one of the New Mutants' first adventures. It was illustrated by Bill Sienkiewicz. It looks great. It's cool. It's just this demon-possessed giant bear. Hey, that Leonardo DiCaprio movie sure made me afraid of bears.
Now, here's my big question with doing New Mutants at all. Because New Mutants as a property made more sense to me if after Apocalypse underperforming box office and not being particularly well received and people not clamoring for a follow-up, if they were just going to drop those characters. But since they're not, I don't see what purpose New Mutants serves because, it's as the name would imply, it's, the younger generation of mutants, but we've still got the younger versions of the main X-Men team that we're dealing with, so it's not a counterbalance to that. It feels like overload of the same thing.
I think this is a case of Fox casting as wide a possible net as they can, possibly overreaching and getting greedy, and it might end up biting them. Because I agree with that. And I will say, of the three movies that we're talking about, New Mutants is the one that I kind of want to see, just because of it's a different flavor.
Yeah.
The last one on this list, which is X-Men Dark Phoenix, I don't really care to see because I don't like the new characters that they introduced. I love Cyclops, Nightcrawler, and Jean Grey and Storm, but I wasn't blown away by them in X-Men Apocalypse. I really didn't like Sophie Turner as Jean Grey in that movie, so I'm not crazy about seeing her as the linchpin character of a whole new movie. X-Men The Dark Phoenix saga is one of the greatest stories in comics ever told, but it might be a story that only works in a particular context in which it was told. I don't know that it does translate. Well, they haven't done it. They haven't They keep trying to get to the point where they're going to adapt it, and then they fall down on themselves.
Yeah, they just don't know what to do with it.
I don't know if they can. Like,
I don't think it's unadapt. I think I think the story.
The 90s cartoon did an okay job of it.
It did an all right. I think the thing is that you can't go out on a mission, we're going to tell the Dark Phoenix story. You need to have told other stories that have allowed these characters to marinate enough, and then when those circumstances are right, when you try and build directly to that story, you end up being too on the nose, which is what they're doing.
Right. You need to have a certain acceptance or affection for Jean Grey. You kind of need to have some sympathy and some love for Cyclops, and they've not been able to stick that landing really well. Which I think is why they kind of lean so much to the Jean Grey Wolverine love affair.
Yeah, well, there was that, and the whole thing is it's gonna read like they're not ready for primetime players, because like these characters of Cyclops and Jean Grey and the entire young team, because Apocalypse, whether you particularly care for it or not, Apocalypse focused on Mystique and Magneto and Xavier again. And all these other characters were side characters. So to suddenly thrust them forward and be like, oh, and now they're in danger, I'm like, I barely know them. Why would I care?
And the Dark Phoenix Saga is also a cosmic story with a lot of space-based and alien characters and things that aren't necessarily part of the world that Fox has built up yet.
Which is part of how Last Stand shot itself in the foot, because you're building up to this big epic thing, but you've created a world that's too grounded to allow it to actually be the over-the-top operatic thing that it works as.
And the new reboot, the sort of like from Days of Future Past and First Class to Apocalypse, is sort of still in that same boat. So
yeah,
other than the basic plot of her powers corrupt her and like take her over, like I don't know what the story is they're actually going to tell, because Apocalypse did just sort of like suggest that she has this unlimited font of power that she might lose control of, but didn't create any sort of exterior impetus for generating that power in her. So I don't know what story they're going to tell, other than presumably she loses control and threatens everybody, and spoilers, they'll probably have to kill her off at the end, because that's what happens with the character.
Now that one doesn't, I didn't see that it had a director. I'm sure Brett Ratner's not too busy.
I was gonna say bring him back for the third one.
Oh boy, yeah, because that never goes wrong. So right now, the list I'm about to give is only comic book superhero-ish movies. Right now, in 2018, we've got Black Panther in February, New Mutants in April, Infinity War in May, Deadpool in June, Ant-Man and Wasp in July, Venom in October, Dark Phoenix in November, Aquaman in December, and also that same weekend, the animated Spider-Man film with Miles Morales that everyone seems to keep forgetting is in production.
Which, I'm not convinced that will happen, and I'm also not convinced it won't go direct to DVD or digital release.
I'm half expecting that to happen, but it's still on the docket for right now. So right now, that's 9.
Nine comic book based movies,
and that's just talking. That's not even getting into other stuff that hits for the same demographic, like Han Solo, Jurassic World, Fantastic Beasts, Where to Find Them, etc., etc., etc.
Like another Universal Monsters movie after The Mummy comes out this year. I think there's another one planned for next year.
Yeah. So this is really packed. This is pretty much wall to wall from April through December. Plus, we got
I think like 8 out of the 12 months. Black Panther. 8 out of the 12 months are reserved.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And here's what makes me nervous, because I haven't bought the argument and the concerns about superhero fatigue up to this point. I'm afraid that by the end of 2018. I might be there.
That was a concern I had too, and I was sort of in the same. I was like, I didn't think the superhero movie fatigue would hit just because of the overexposure of movies. I honestly never thought we would get to a point where there's 9 or 10 superhero movies.
No, I'm not sure any of us did.
And by the way, I do think it is worth noting that 8 of the 9 are Marvel Comics properties, and 1 is DC.
Yes.
They're not all Marvel Studios, but
no, because Fox has 3 of these in there, and then Sony has 1.
or two kind of.
Oh yeah. So but they are all Marvel characters, even if
they'll have the Marvel banner on the logo. I will see the 3 Marvel Studios movies, and I will say Black Panther is the one that I have been the most excited about since it was announced back in 2014.
Yeah.
In October of 2014, that was the one that I was looking forward to the most. I still am. I'm excited for Black Panther. I'm excited for Ant-Man and Wasp. I'm excited for Avengers Infinity War. Those 3 we'll definitely see. I think I will try and see X-Men New Mutants just to see how different it is, what they give me. Deadpool 2, I don't know.
You weren't as high on Deadpool as a lot of people were.
I wasn't a big fan of Deadpool, and it wasn't for me. That's not a criticism of the quality of the movie. I thought it was fine. It just wasn't for me, and I don't know if I'll make the effort to see the sequel, especially in a summer that's going to be as crowded as it is.
Yeah.
Also with a newborn baby.
You're just trying to remind yourself that this is really happening.
Yeah, the world is changing. I still think there's maybe Aquaman. I really like Aquaman. I don't think I'm gonna see Justice League, so I have no frame of reference for what this Aquaman is going to be. But that's always a possibility. I don't think that Spider-Man, the animated one, will actually happen. I'm not interested in Venom, and I'm not interested in X-Men Dark Phoenix. So of those 9, there's still 4, maybe 5 of them that I will end up seeing that I'm interested in. 4.5 that I would want to see, that I would make the effort to go and see.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you said, that your previous concerns have been that fatigue would come when the movies get bad.
Yeah.
The thing is, I look at a lineup like that, and I think to myself, even if all of these are good, I'm going to be sick of this by the end of the year.
That might be the case. If there was going to be a year where we start seeing things condense and like a black hole start to shrink back down, this might be the year, but...
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if we see more in 2019. The one that has not let me down yet has been Marvel Studios. And this is the year where, counting Spider-Man Homecoming, the joint venture between Marvel Studios and Sony, this is the year right now that we'll see 3 of their properties. Between Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Thor Ragnarok. If I get to the end of the year and I felt like I didn't need that many of the Marvel Studios movies, that will be a factor to consider going forward. 2-3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I would have felt compelled to see every one of these movies. And I think Fan4Stick was the breaking point.
That was the first one where you're like, I'm not going.
I was like, hell no. I was like, no. And after that, it was just really easy to say,
2018, very packed, very bleh. Yeah, that's all we've got. Bleh. So I guess that'll about wrap it up for this one. So Ryan, care to plug anything aside from your rapidly approaching offspring?
That's really the only thing. I can't think of anything else. I've got a number of podcasts on the Fire and Water Podcast Network. I occasionally do guest spots on other shows. I want to say I was supposed to plug one of them, but I just can't think of what it was.
Maybe couldn't have been that good.
Maybe next month I'll remember. Let us know if we're being way too nitpicky. Let us know if
geeks being nitpicky. What? No.
Let us know if we
out of my house, sir.
Should we just shut up and take what we are given and enjoy the fact that we're living in this era where we're getting 9 comic book movies?
I have no.
Who are we to complain and bite the hand that feeds us?
I have no doubt there are some people who feel that is the case, and they have said as much to me.
You're not known for nitpicking, are you?
No.
It's not like you have a new, designated feature about that.
But if you are watching this in video form, check out the podcast for the unexpurgated, we'll go with that, version on the Council of Geeks podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. So in any case, thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, this council is adjourned.